Hey all, welcome to another session with me, Varun at Odin School. And in this session, we would be talking about Naive-Bayes theorem, and this is a variant of classifier which is a part of advanced machine learning with Python. Without wasting time, let us go forward and quickly understand what machine learning is. As we all know, machine learning is that part of data science or is directly connected to AI, wherein we are working on the day-to-day needs. It could be great platforms like Amazon or Twitter or probably any of these. They all work using these technologies or these mega technologies. And I think that gives us good reason as to why artificial intelligence is progressing today, right? And to let you all know, we at Odin School, guys, we are a technology upskilling platform and we would help you continuously acquire new skills. Thereby, you could stay skilled and stay ahead. And my name is Varun. I come with an experience of 7 years wherein I've been working as a developer predominantly and as a trainer passionately. And over these years, I've gained knowledge on different languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, R, Python, and also technologies like machine learning, deep learning, etc. So without wasting time, let's quickly understand the agenda of this session. So it would be to understand what is naive Bayes, the concept related to naive Bayes theorem and why is it important, followed by examples and case studies and some formula, mathematics and features behind it. So this is the brief of what we would be looking at. Let us start now. So when we initially begin with the kind of definition it has, guys, naive Bayes does not have a definition like rest of all the theorems, or it does not have a particular uh, you know definition of its own. It's more of a statistical concept that we use in naive Bayes too. So naive Bayes classifier, as you can see, it is a group of classification algorithms that is based on Bayes theorem. Now it is not one single algorithm but a brood of algorithms wherein you come to one common principle, and every pair of traits being classified is dependent on each other. That is, Bayes' theorem finds out the probability of an event occurring given the probability of another event has already occurred. Right, guys? And Bayes' theorem is represented like this, as you are able to see below, wherein P of, okay, so here we have certain elements that we need to identify or that we need to mark right now. So let us start understanding each of them in line. So as you can see, this is the posterior probability, okay, which means the features. P of C is the probability of a class, right, guys? P of X by C, as you see, this is the likelihood, which is the probability of predictor of given class. Probability of a predictor, right, guys? And then finally we have P of X, which is the prior probability of predictor again. Right now, where do we use this, or like how is this useful, should be the next question. Now if you are considering a small example wherein you would be using different fruits or different vegetables or different kinds of you know, toys to find out, here you would be able to sort out based on the score which of them is probably sweet, or which of them is less sweet, or which of them is the most sold toy, things like these. Okay. Now when we talk about naive Bayes, or there are some great advantages of using naive Bayes, and also it is very imperative, it actually becomes imperative for us to know that naive Bayes is not just a single class prediction that we as we all think of. It can work on multi-class prediction as well. Now this brings us to another very important and or an interesting question, that is why the name naive Bayes. Now here, this is a theorem. So we know that we have Bayesian theorem in mathematics, which is understood. But what is naive? That is because it does not make assumptions that may or may not turn out to be true or correct.
So naive Bayes basically does not promise or does not assure, the correctness of a problem. I guess things like these are not assured here.
So now that we have understood what is naive Bayes and why the word naive, let us also understand what can this do and how, like the theory or probably the rationale or how does this algorithm work is what we will be looking at right now. The assumptions and some things behind it. So now when you can see here, whenever we talk about naive Bayes, there is very less or almost no training required. The only work that must be done before is to find the parameters which you would want to train or on which you would want to see the probability distributions, which can typically be done very quickly. So here the message or the takeaway is your training time is very, very less. This means that the naive Bayes classifiers, they can execute or they can get executed or they can probably run or function even without or with high dimensional data points. So even if you have data points which are of 2D and 3D based, even they would be able to work perfectly. Now, notwithstanding high dimensional points, your naive Bayes algorithm can also take in a large quantity of data points. So even if you talk about quantity or quality wise, both the ways, naive Bayes is good to handle. And also the other thing here is how does this work? Now, when we talk about it, it is imperative for us to find out that, or when I say it is imperative for us, I mean the naive Bayes algorithm. Here it assumes that B is occurring because A has already occurred, or the probability of A happening given that B has already occurred. Both of them they mean the same. So here B is the evidence and A is the hypothesis. So the supposition made is also based out of the fact that the predictors or the features are independent of each other and the presence of one feature does not affect the other. So here if this rule or if this condition is not satisfied, that is when we would be having problems because the base assumption is that they are independent of each other and you can check this using the correlation between variables. Right, guys? So this is how naive Bayes thinks and works, or this is the rationale behind how naive Bayes works. Right, guys? Now, again, this does not go away without any applications. There are a lot of applications that we use when we are working on naive Bayes. The first one is it is an eager classifier and it is used for a lot of real-time predictions. It's actually used for a lot of real-time predictions. Because of its multi-class prediction capability, we could also use it for multi-class variable target, right? The third one being text classification, spam filtering, and sentiment analysis. That is, this classifier which we are talking about, it is mostly used in text classification and it has a higher success rate as compared to other algorithms as far as text classification is concerned. And as a result, it is very frequently used in spam filtering and also sentiment analysis. The last one or the last application that we have here on the list is a recommendation system. Well, guys, naive Bayes classifier and collaborative filtering. They both of them they are built using a recommendation system. Okay. Now, when we talk about collaborative filtering, there are many types of collaborative filtering, guys. Okay. Now, be it whatever we can or we are free to use naive Bayes here, wherein it uses different data mining techniques to come up with unseen information. I would predict whether a user has given a recommendation or a feedback or probably something like that or not. Right, guys? So this is where we could use naive Bayes in applications. Now these are some types of classifiers. We would be working on one of these variants and the types are multinomial naive Bayes, Bernoulli's naive Bayes and Gaussian. As you can see, it's not just the names that vary, there is also a bit of functionality that changes when we talk about such algorithms. So here let us take a look at each of them in detail. So the first one being multinomial naive Bayes. This is used for document classification problems. That is, whether a document belongs to sports, politics, or technologies, or whether it might belong to anything. Like when you talk about a multinomial naive Bayes. Here, the most important thing is the features or the predictors which are used by the classifiers are the frequency of the words present in the document. So here, this is the most important thing when we use multinomial naive Bayes. The second one is Bernoulli's naive Bayes. This is similar to multinomial, but here, as you can see, the predictors are Boolean, which means 0, 1, true, false, yes, no, male, female, stuff like this. And the parameters that we use to predict the class variable, they take up only a value of yes or no, as discussed. Right, guys? For example, if a word occurs in a text or not, and if it is a yes, then it will be processed to the next step. If it is no, it would be going on to the older step. This can be used for spam, as an example, spam detection. Then the next one we have is Gaussian naive Bayes. So here, when the predictors take up a continuous value and when they are not distinct, we assume that these values are sampled from Gaussian. Okay, so it means that they have to be continuous values and they are not distinct. In this case, we can very gladly use a Gaussian naive Bayes kind of a classifier. Right, guys, going forward, naive Bayes as an algorithm does not walk free from advantages or disadvantages. So to begin with, the most important advantage or the first advantage that it has is it is very easy to implement and it is very fast. That means it's basically it makes it convenient for us to predict the class of a test data set. And so okay, let us just probably check them to keep a mark. Okay, the third one is if the independent assumptions hold, then it works more efficiently than other algorithms. Which means that here we discussed that right at the beginning of the session, wherein naive Bayes algorithm works properly when two variables are independent of each other. If they are dependent on each other, then there is no assurance. But if they are actually independent, and if this condition happens to be true, then there then it works more efficiently than other algorithms is the most important takeaway here. It requires less training data. That's pretty easily understood because it performs really better compared to other models like logistic regression and all when you have less training data, and it performs great in when you have categorical inputs. That is also another point to be noted. And for normal variable or sorry, for numerical variables, it would be normal distribution. Alright, guys. So this is the difference, and it is very easily and highly scalable. When we talk about naive Bayes, it is very highly scalable. It can make probabilistic predictions, that is yes or no. It can handle both continuous and discrete data, definitely an advantage. It is insensitive towards irrelevant features, that need not be said. It can work easily with missing values, agree to that. It is very easy to update on arrival of new data. Okay, and it is best suited for text classification problems, and this is something that we've discussed to see if it is spam or not spam. Right, guys. Also, to wherever there is yes or no or 0 or 1, in all such cases we could use that is boolean. Basically, even for boolean, as we've discussed on the top, it would be great if we could use naive Bayes analysis or naive Bayes algorithm. I guess these are the advantages. And talking about the disadvantages now, here, if categorical variable has a category uh, in the test data set which was not correctly observed in training data, then it will assign a zero probability. This is called as zero frequency. And this is one of the most important or the biggest disadvantage that we have associated. And one simple way to avoid this is by we can use a smoothing technique. Okay, we all know what smoothing is. We can use a smoothing technique. Now when we talk about a smoothing technique, here we can use Laplace estimation. Right, guys, so I'm using a smoothing technique and I'm using a Laplace estimation. So the smoothing technique, the method in smoothing technique is called as Laplace estimation. On the other hand, we also know that it is a bad estimator. So if someone tells you that it is a very good estimator, then guys, no, because if the concept of dependence or independence of variables goes wrong, then your value would also be wrong, which is chances of loss of accuracy, and also it is hardly true in real life applications. And then data scarcity. Well, this is a very well known disadvantage. This needs no explanation, is what I suppose. So these are some advantages and disadvantages which are associated with naive Bayes. Now, in spite of all these kinds of advantages and disadvantages that are associated, we would still prefer using naive Bayes in a lot of algorithms for a lot of purposes. Right, guys. Now, what we'll do is let's quickly move on to the coding part and understand how and why and where is naive Bayes useful as an algorithm. Here I have my data, which is social networking ads. So let us just take this step by step and see what would happen. I would now call up my three libraries, NumPy, Matplotlib, and Pandas. And my second step, it is my data set that I would be reading, followed by identifying the dependent and independent variables. So I'm doing that. So here it goes. X and Y. Y has my last column, which is the dependent, and X has the other two which are independent. But then what are these is something we need to look at. Cool. So I think my last column, that is the dependent, is about purchased or not purchased, right, guys? Then when we talk about the other factors, that is X has two columns which talks about age and estimated salary. So again, based on age and estimated salary, I would want to see, or I would want to check which of these algorithms performs best. And amidst using a lot of algorithms on the same data set, we would now be working on naive Bayes again to see how this kind of an algorithm would work. And guys, it would be really nice if you could probably try using the same algorithm for try using the same data set, in fact, for different algorithms to see how the outputs would differ. Trust me, it would be a great exercise for all of us to give us an understanding about what this whole module is about. Right. So now from this, that is sklearn model selection, I would now be importing train test split. Now in this train test split, we would again use the train test split, which is a part of model selection. And here I would be now working on X, Y, test size and random state. Right, guys. Now after which we know that the data would get split into data would get split into 75 and 25, which is equal to the test and train respectively. So now let me just run these two lines of code and let us check. So yeah, here you see in train we have 75%, that is 300, and in test we have 100, that is 25%. So that is also taken care of. And the next step, I have my sklearn pre-processing, and I'm importing my standard scalar from here. After which I'm using my standard scalar. Then I'm using my fit transform on my train model, and then I'm using my transform on the test model and run. I'm kind of running the selections now. So here we have feature selection, oh sorry, feature scaling, right guys? And let us just see what is the difference that we would be having after feature scaling is performed on train and test. So guys, this is my train and test. Okay, so but predominantly this is my train model, and okay, this is my test model. Let us now open and see the other test model. See, this is how the values have been converted into. Now this is also called as normalization, wherein all the values are brought from a range of -1 to 1. And this is to ensure that there is easy and smooth functioning of the system. We have seen or we have covered what is the use of what is the use of feature scaling and how would feature scaling help us in real time problems. Okay, so yeah, now that this is done, this all so till here we were basically working on data pre-processing. And now that data pre-processing is done, I would go to the next step and I would now fit my naive Bayes to the training set. And in order to do that, I would be using sklearn naive Bayes followed by Gaussian naive Bayes. And by now, I'm sure we all know that there are different variants of naive Bayes that could be used. And we are using Gaussian naive Bayes. Right, guys? So Gaussian naive Bayes is now used, after which I would be fitting my Gaussian naive Bayes to the train model, and that is done here in line number 23. So we're using Gaussian naive Bayes, fitting Gaussian naive Bayes to the word classifier, and then I'm fitting this classifier to my train model. Right, guys? So it still makes the same thing, or it still comes up to the same thing. Then in the next step, or in my next step here, we would be applying this to the prediction value. Okay, so let us just select this. Okay, I don't think we have probably executed this step, so let us execute this step first. Cool. Now let us use the predict. All right, so we have the ypred. So this is the ypred, and let us take a look at y now. And here we have y. So guys, let us just probably understand what they are. The one you see on the left, that is ypred, they are the prediction values, and the one you see on the right, they are the actual values. So we can now go ahead and compare them, and we see that almost all the values are same except for the ninth value. So there is one prediction gone wrong from values between 0 to 15. Right guys, and this is how, or this is how we would be calculating the, this is how we would be calculating if, this is how you can check how many values or how many positive or negative values we have throughout the prediction versus actual. And this is what is called as misclassification. Now, every time you see the actual is 0 or the actual is 1, but there is something else in the predicted space, it means that it is a misclassified algorithm or it is a misclassified value over there, and this is as simple as it is understood. But then, because looking at the prediction values like this would make no sense, we would go into the concept of confusion matrix, wherein as you can see here, I am building a confusion matrix to see how my algorithm would show or how my algorithm would perform with regards to the word accuracy. So I'll do that. And when I do that, here I have my CM. This is 65, 60, 20, 80, 90. So this is 90 and this 10. So you can see that I have an accuracy of 90%, which is a good, like a pretty good kind of an accuracy to talk about, right, guys? And then on just to sum it up, we have a couple of graphs which talk about naive Bayes and how naive Bayes functions. So let us just go into it and check it out. So this is how naive Bayes can take in values too. And this is because of Gaussian naive Bayes. This kind of a decision boundary, or this kind of boundary which we have, which is circumferential, this is totally because of Gaussian naive Bayes. And if we use any other variant, or there are other variants that we could use which would give us values like this, probably based on the shape, or they would also give us values which are linear in nature. So guys, basically naive Bayes can be used for values like those as well. Right, guys? So this is an understanding about how we work on the coding part of the naive Bayes algorithm. Right, guys? So yeah, in this video, I hope you have understood what naive Bayes is, how we use it, concepts related to naive Bayes, examples, and case studies. And even when we are using the hands-on, or probably whenever we are working on the hands-on part, it's probably highly imperative for us to remember the fact that naive Bayes is is probably one of the most preferred algorithm. This is a very less known fact about it. Now, why is it most preferred? Because if the independence concept works, then guys, this is almost the best algorithm. And also it takes very, very, very less training. Another advantage of naive Bayes. Also, it can be used greatly on text algorithm for text classification, or it could be for text mining, or for anything, or most of the activities related to text. You could use naive Bayes, right, guys? And also we have covered some examples or real-time case studies, and the formula wherein we were discussing about the likelihood, the probability, the posterior and the front, and the next one. So these all are the formula. Then we have seen the mathematical explanation, and also checked out some of its features. Right, guys, so I hope you now have a thorough understanding about what naive Bayes is and how we can use it in real time scenario. And if in case you feel that this video has been of use and of help to you, then guys, please do not forget to hit the like button, because that would motivate us to make a lot of videos. And also do not forget to hit the subscribe button followed by the bell icon, because when you do this, you would be having access to a plethora of videos to watch from, and also a number of technologies to choose from. And guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your patience. This is me, Varun, your trainer, your mentor, signing off, wishing you and all the best for for whatever is the journey that you're about to take up, and wishing you great luck in all your future endeavors. Thank you very much for being there once again. Have a great day ahead.